Welcome to our deep dive today.
Yeah.
We're going to be exploring Enneagram Type 4 relationships.
Yeah.
Those individualists, as they're known.
Yes.
And you know how they bring that sort of unique flavor to their connections with others?
Mm-hmm.
We're really going to be going beyond the typical relationship tips and tricks.
Absolutely.
And instead kind of digging into what makes Type 4s tick
Yes.
in relationships, what their strengths and struggles are, and really what they need to thrive.
Yeah, you'll be able to glean insights on how they approach romantic relationships, friendships, family dynamics, and even work collaborations.
Perfect.
We're going to be using Enneagram Type 4 relationships, compatibility, romantic relationships, and personal growth with individualists.
Okay.
By personality NFT to kind of guide our exploration.
Awesome. So before we jump into their relationships, I think it's important to kind of paint a picture of the Enneagram Type 4 personality.
Yes.
What are some of those defining characteristics?
Well, Type 4s, the individualists, are known for their deep well of emotions, creativity, and a constant search for meaning and authenticity.
Okay.
Imagine someone who experiences life with a sense of depth that others might not always grasp.
Oh, wow.
And they're highly intuitive, often seeing the world through a different lens.
That sounds pretty intense.
It can be.
I imagined that deep emotionality plays a big role in how they approach relationships.
It certainly does. Their emotional depth can be both a gift and a challenge.
Okay.
So think of it this way. They crave deep, meaningful connections.
Right.
And can have these incredible, fulfilling conversations that really get to the heart of things.
I love that.
But on the flip side, this intensity can also lead to mood swings.
Oh.
And even a tendency to idealize partners.
So they're looking for those soulmate level connections.
Exactly.
Not just, casual flings or anything like that.
Not at all.
Yeah. I could already see how this could lead to some interesting dynamics.
Yeah.
Especially, with other Enneagram types.
Yeah.
Who might approach relationships in a very different way.
Exactly. And it's fascinating how different types perceive Type 4s.
Okay.
So you'll find that Type 4s often have great synergy with Type 2s as both prioritize emotional connection.
Makes sense.
And with Type 9s who appreciate the Type 4's depth and creativity.
Mm-hmm.
But a Type 1 who values logic and order may find a Type 4's emotional intensity a bit overwhelming.
It's like they're speaking different love languages almost.
Absolutely.
Now, our source dives into some specific strengths and weaknesses
Yes.
that Type 4s bring to their relationships.
Uh-huh.
What stands out to you?
Well, one of their greatest strengths is their emotional honesty. They're not afraid to be vulnerable to express their true selves, and that can foster incredible intimacy.
Beautiful.
But this can also be a double-edged sword. And their weaknesses, those mood swings we talked about,
right,
can be a challenge.
Yeah.
They can also become self-conscious and withdraw when they feel overwhelmed,
Oh.
leaving their partners feeling a bit lost.
So it's all about finding that balance.
Yes.
Speaking of challenges, our source offers some great tips on managing conflict with a Type 4.
Uh-huh.
Instead of criticizing a Type 4's emotional response, try reflecting their feelings back to them.
Yeah.
Say something like, "It sounds like you're feeling really hurt by this.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me more about why?"
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Type 4s really thrive when they feel understood and validated, not dismissed or judged.
Now let's get into the good stuff. Let's talk about love.
Yes.
How do Type 4s approach dating and romance?
Kai.
Are they looking for, those whirlwind romances that we see in the movies?
Not exactly.
Okay.
Remember, Type 4s are the ultimate idealistic romantics.
Mm.
They're seeking that unique soul-stirring connection, something deeper than surface-level attraction.
Okay.
They're going to take things slowly,
Yep.
prioritizing emotional intimacy over casual flings.
So they're not going to be swiping right on every profile.
Probably not.
Yeah, I imagine they put a lot of thought and intention into those dating choices.
Absolutely. And they often express their creativity even in romance.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Think thoughtful gifts that reflect their partner's personality, heartfelt love letters,
Wow.
or romantic gestures that go beyond the typical dinner and a movie date.
That sounds incredibly romantic.
It can be.
But what about compatibility?
Yes.
Do certain Enneagram types match up better with Type 4s?
Definitely. For instance, a Type 4 with a Type 2 can be a very supportive and emotionally fulfilling pairing because both types are so attuned to feelings and nurturing.
Right.
However, a Type 4 with a Type 8 who is known for being direct and assertive might face more challenges.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a little bit of a clash.
A little bit.
Where one is expressing their emotions, in a very nuanced way, and the other one's very straightforward.
Precisely. And this is just one example.
Sure.
The world of Enneagram compatibility is quite fascinating,
Yeah.
and understanding those dynamics can be incredibly helpful in navigating relationships.
Now, this deep dive isn't just about romantic love. It's about understanding all types of relationships.
Yes.
With a type 4.
Right?
So what's it like to live with a type 4, whether it's a partner, family member, or friend?
It can be deeply rewarding,
Okay.
but also challenging at times. Imagine living with someone who's deeply in touch with their emotions, both the highs and the lows.
Yeah.
You'll experience their passion, their creativity, their profound capacity for connection.
I love that.
But you also need to be prepared for their need for self-expression and alone time.
So it's about finding that balance between, supporting their emotional needs and respecting their boundaries.
Exactly. And understanding that their moods and intensity aren't always a personal attack.
Right.
It's just part of how they experience the world.
Our source material also emphasizes the importance of open communication when living with a type 4.
Absolutely.
It's about creating that safe space
Yeah.
where they feel comfortable expressing their feelings without judgment.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of trying to fix their problems or offer unsolicited advice, just listen with empathy and let them know you're there for them.
Exactly. It's about validating their feelings, even if you don't fully understand them. Sometimes just saying, I hear you and I see that you're hurting can make a world of difference.
Okay, now let's shift gears a little bit and talk about type 4s as friends.
Okay.
What are they like in those platonic relationships?
They are incredibly loyal and supportive friends.
Yeah.
Just like in their romantic relationships, they value authenticity and deep connection.
I like that.
They're the friends you can call at 3 a.m. when you're having a meltdown.
Yeah.
And they'll be there with a listening ear and a heart full of empathy.
So they're the ones who really get you,
Yes.
who see beneath the surface
Yeah.
and accept you for who you truly are.
Exactly. And they're not afraid to offer a different perspective, to help you see things in a new light, even if it's not always what you want to hear.
But they do need their space, right?
Yes.
Definitely. I was talking about that earlier.
Type cores need time to recharge, to process their emotions, to reconnect with themselves. So don't be surprised if they disappear for a while to dive into their creative pursuits or just spend time in solitude. It's not a reflection on the friendship. It's just a necessity for their well-being.
And when they resurface,
Yes.
they'll be ready to connect again,
Exactly.
bringing that renewed energy and depth to the friendship.
Absolutely. Now, let's venture into the professional realm.
Okay.
We touched on this earlier, but I think it's worth exploring further.
Yeah.
What are type 4s like as colleagues and bosses?
The stereotype is that they're these free-spirited artists who can't handle a structured 9 to 5.
Right.
But I'm guessing it's a little more nuanced than that.
It definitely is. Type 4s bring their creativity and emotional intelligence to the workplace, which can be a huge asset. They're often the ones who come up with innovative ideas, who can connect with clients or customers on a deeper level.
Right.
But they do need a work environment that allows them to express themselves authentically.
So a company that embraces individuality and encourages creative thinking.
Exactly. And as bosses, they can be inspiring and supportive, encouraging their team members to tap into their unique talents.
Yeah.
However, they might need to work on delegation and learn to trust others to get the job done.
So it's about finding that balance between maintaining their creative vision and empowering their team to contribute their own ideas.
You got it.
Yep.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave you with a question to ponder.
A cliffhanger.
Think about your own relationships, both romantic and platonic. How have Enneagram types, yours and those of the people you're close to, shaped those connections? What strengths and challenges have you experienced, and what have you learned along the way?
I love that.
Take some time to reflect on those dynamics and see if you can spot any patterns.
It's like having a secret decoder ring for understanding the people in your life.
Can be.
When we left off, we were talking about how those wings can add, another layer of complexity to the type 4 personality.
Yeah. Those subtle variations can make a world of difference.
Could you give us some real-life examples of how those wings might show up in a relationship?
Sure.
Like, how would a type 4 with a 3 wing approach dating compared to a type 4 with a 5 wing?
Okay, so let's picture a type 4 with a 3 wing, maybe someone like a successful fashion designer.
Okay.
She's drawn to partners who not only appreciate her emotional depth, but also admire her accomplishments. She wants to be seen as both talented and deeply feeling.
So someone who can appreciate both her artistic vision and her drive to succeed.
Exactly. Now imagine a type 4 with a 5 wing, perhaps a writer who spends hours crafting intricate stories in solitude. He needs a partner who respects his need for space and can engage him in those deep, thought-provoking conversations about life, art, and everything in between.
I'm starting to see how those subtle wing differences can really influence, a couple's dynamics.
Yeah.
It's not just about the core type 4 traits.
Yeah.
It's about those additional layers of personality.
Absolutely. And then on top of the wings, we have the subtypes.
Right, the self-preservation, social, and sexual subtypes.
Yes.
Can you remind us how those influence a type 4's relationship?
Okay, so think of the self-preservation subtype as the one who's most focused on security and stability.
Okay.
In relationships, they'll seek partners who can provide a sense of grounding and support. They're the ones who might worry about practical matters like financial security and having a stable home life.
So they're bringing that practical, grounded energy to kind of balance out
Yes.
the type 4's intensity.
Exactly. Now, the social subtype is all about connection and belonging. These type 4s crave deep, meaningful relationships and want to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves.
I can see them being drawn to communities,
Yeah.
social causes, groups where they can, share their passions and connect with like-minded people.
Absolutely. And in their romantic relationships, they need a partner who not only understands their emotional depth,
Right.
but also shares their values and desire to make a difference in the world.
So they're looking for a partner who's both a lover and a comrade.
Yes.
Someone who's on the same wavelength.
Exactly. Now, what about the sexual subtype?
Yeah.
What makes them stand out?
Yeah.
Well, the sexual subtype brings a certain intensity and passion to their relationships.
Okay.
They crave that all-consuming, transformative experience of love.
All right.
They want to feel everything deeply, from the heights of joy to the depths of sorrow.
So they're not afraid of those big emotions.
Not at all.
They want to experience, the full spectrum
Yes.
of what love has to offer.
Precisely. And they bring that same passionate energy to all areas of their lives, from their creative pursuits to their personal relationships.
It's fascinating how these subtypes add another layer of complexity.
Yeah.
When you consider the core type 4 traits,
Yeah.
their wing and their subtype,
Yeah.
you get a truly unique individual.
It's like a fingerprint.
Yeah,
No two type 4s are exactly alike.
that's so true.
And that's what makes understanding the Enneagram so fascinating, especially when it comes to relationships.
Now, earlier we talked about romantic relationships, but our source also delves into what it's like to live with a type 4.
Yes.
Whether it is a partner, family member, or a friend.
Yeah.
What are some key insights from that section?
Well, imagine living with someone who experiences life on such a deep emotional level. You get that incredible depth of connection, the creativity, the passion.
I just imagine.
It's never boring, but you also have to be prepared to navigate those emotional waves and respect their need for self-expression.
So it's about creating that balance.
Yeah.
Between embracing their intensity and giving them space to process those emotions.
Exactly. And understanding that their moods and strong reactions aren't always directed at you.
Right.
It's just how they experience the world.
Our source material also emphasizes the importance of open communication
Yes.
when living with the type 4.
Absolutely. It's about creating that safe space where they feel comfortable expressing their feelings without judgment.
So instead of trying to fix their problems
Right.
or offer unsolicited advice, just listen with empathy
Yeah.
and let them know you're there for them.
Precisely. It's about validating their feelings, even if you don't fully understand them.
Yeah.
Sometimes just saying, I hear you and I understand this is upsetting you, can make a world of difference.
Okay, now let's shift gears a bit and talk about type 4s as friends.
Okay.
What are they like in those platonic relationships?
They are incredibly loyal and supportive friends.
Okay.
Just like in their romantic relationships, they value authenticity and deep connection. They're the friends you can call at 3 a.m. when you're having a meltdown.
Yeah.
And they'll be there with a listening ear and a heart full of empathy.
So they're the ones who really get you,
Yes.
who see beneath the surface and accept you for who you truly are.
Exactly. And they're not afraid to offer a different perspective to help you see things in a new light, even if it's not always what you want to hear.
But they do need their space, right?
Yes, definitely.
We talked about that earlier.
Type 4s need time to recharge, to process their emotions, to reconnect with themselves.
Right.
So don't be surprised if they disappear for a while to dive into their creative pursuits or just spend time in solitude. It's not a reflection on the friendship. It's a necessity for their well-being.
And when they resurface,
Yes.
they'll be ready to connect again, bringing that renewed energy and depth. to the friendship.
Exactly. Now let's venture into the professional realm.
Okay.
We touched on this earlier, but I think it's worth exploring further.
Yeah.
What are type 4s like as colleagues and bosses?
The stereotype is that they're these free-spirited artists who can't handle a structured 9 to 5.
Right?
But I'm guessing it's more nuanced than that.
It definitely is. Type 4s bring their creativity and emotional intelligence to the workplace, which can be a huge asset. They're often the ones who come up with innovative ideas, who can connect with clients or customers on a deeper level.
Right.
But they do need a work environment that allows them to express themselves authentically.
So a company that embraces individuality and encourages creative thinking.
Exactly. And as bosses, they can be inspiring and supportive, encouraging their team members to tap into their unique talents.
Yeah.
However, they might need to work on delegation and learn to trust others to get the job done.
So it's about finding that balance between maintaining their creative vision and empowering their team to contribute their own ideas.
You got it.
Yeah. As we wrap up our deep dive into these type 4 relationships,
Yes.
I'm really struck by just how much depth and complexity there is to this personality type.
Oh, absolutely.
We've uncovered so much about their strengths, their struggles, those fascinating wings and subtypes. But I feel like there's one key aspect we haven't fully explored yet.
Okay.
And that is what type 4s truly crave in their relationships.
Yes. What are those fundamental needs that drive their interactions?
Exactly what makes them feel loved, seen, and understood.
Well, according to our source, Enneagram Type 4 relationships, Type 4s long for a few essential things.
What?
First and foremost, they crave authenticity.
Okay.
They want to be accepted for who they truly are with all their quirks, their intensity, their unique way of seeing the world.
So it's not about fitting into a mold or pretending to be someone they're not.
No, not at all.
They need that deep acceptance of their true selves.
Exactly. And because of this need for authenticity, they also place a high value on emotional depth.
Okay.
They want to connect with people who can not only handle their intense emotions, but truly understand and appreciate them.
It's not enough to just listen.
Right.
You really have to be able to dive deep into those emotional waters with them.
You got it. They're not looking for surface-level conversations or shallow connections. They
Right.
want to feel seen and understood on a soul level.
And I imagine this need for authenticity and emotional depth
Yeah.
extends to all their relationships, not just romantic ones.
Absolutely. Whether it's their partner, friends, family, or even colleagues, they want those connections to be real, meaningful, and deeply felt.
Now, our source also highlights another key need for type 4s, and that is creative expression.
Yes, remember, Type 4s are naturally creative beings. They express themselves through art, music, writing, fashion, any outlet that allows them to tap into their unique perspective and emotions.
Right.
And they need relationships that support and nurture this creativity.
So they're not just looking for a partner or a friend.
Right.
They're looking for a muse, someone who inspires them and celebrates their artistic endeavors.
That's a great way to put it. They thrive in environments where their creativity is encouraged and appreciated, not stifled or dismissed.
Now, we spent a lot of time talking about what type 4s need in relationships.
Yeah,
But it's important to remember that relationships are a two-way street.
absolutely.
What about the people on the other side of those connections? What do their partners, their friends, their family members need to know to make those relationships work?
That's a great point. It's not just about meeting the needs of the Type 4.
Right.
It's about creating a dynamic that's fulfilling for everyone involved.
So what are some key things to keep in mind if you're in a relationship with a type 4?
Well, first and foremost, remember that their intensity isn't personal.
Okay.
When a Type 4 is having a strong emotional reaction, try not to take it as a personal attack. It's just their way of processing the world.
Yeah.
Create that safe space where they can express themselves without feeling judged or criticized.
And validate their feelings even if you don't fully understand them?
Exactly. Something as simple as saying, I hear you and I understand that this is upsetting you, can make a world of difference.
Right.
Encourage their creativity, celebrate their artistic endeavors, even if they seem a bit unconventional to you.
Right.
Be patient with their need for alone time.
Yeah.
Remember, they need those moments to recharge and reconnect with themselves. And above all, communicate openly and honestly. Talk about your needs and your expectations and encourage them to do the same.
I think so much of navigating any relationship, especially with a type 4, just comes down to understanding empathy and clear communication.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, this has been a fascinating exploration of Enneagram type 4 relationships.
It has.
We've uncovered their core traits, their strengths and weaknesses, those fascinating wings and subtypes, and what they truly need to thrive in their connections with others.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have. But remember, this is just the beginning of your Enneagram journey.
Yes.
If you're intrigued by what you've learned today and want to explore even further, head over to personalitynft.com.
They have an amazing platform.
They do. They have personality tests, AI-powered apps, and even expert chats.
It's incredible.
It's like having a personalized guide to navigating, the complexities of human connection.
It is.
So whether you want to understand your own Enneagram type or gain insights into the people that you're closest to, personalitynft.com has everything you need.
Yeah.
Happy exploring